What's going on, guys? This is Vince with vshred.com, and today I'm going to show you guys the 5 worst bicep curl mistakes and how to fix them. Alright, so like I said, today's video is going to be all about bicep curls. Obviously a great bicep exercise, and for good reason, because it works the biceps really well. Now with bicep curls and so many people doing bicep curls, there comes so many people trying to teach you how to do bicep curls, especially the gym bros who are trying to teach their friends how to get into lifting and have no clue what they're doing, and it turns into a lot of mistakes. Now, I've seen more mistakes than just 5, especially the 5 that I'm going to cover in this video, but I wanted to cover 5 of probably the most common ones that I've seen so that you can be aware of this video the next time you go to do curls and not do it. So, first one, stop creating momentum. Too many times, guys go to the gym, they're going to hit arms, they're going to smash biceps, they pick up some dumbbells or a barbell, whichever it might be, and they create momentum to get the weight up. They're going too heavy. They're either taking this weight back behind their body a little bit, swinging it forward, creating that momentum, therefore taking away from that concentric contraction, that actual curl up, and just limiting the amount of actual muscle stimulation that they're getting. And it can be the same thing with bringing your arm behind your back. It can be the same thing with leaning over and throwing your back back, throwing your shoulders backwards, throwing your hips forward to create that momentum. There's so many different ways that you could create momentum, but the main thing here is that you want to just focus on standing there, standing up straight, and starting from a strong position and a slow contraction at the bottom. Too many guys and girls are getting too caught up in trying to explode with that weight up because they're trying to go so heavy that they're not remembering that at the bottom of the exercise you want it to be controlled at the bottom just as much as you want it to be controlled at the top. So even if you're squeezing at the top, when you go all the way down to the bottom, you don't want to create momentum, bounce with your knees or anything to get that started, get that rep started. You want to be controlled at the bottom, go into that curl in a nice controlled manner, and go all the way up. So tip number 1, stop creating momentum. Tip number 2, stop sliding your elbows forward. Now, what I mean by this is, and it's also related to people typically going too heavy with their curls because they just want their arms to be huge, so they're going and grabbing the biggest barbells that they think they can handle, the heaviest dumbbells they think they can handle, and they go into a curl, and what happens is as you go into a curl with free weights or any kind of weight really, as you get up to the top of the exercise, it becomes more difficult. So when it gets more difficult at the top, or let's say you're even in the middle of your rep and it becomes heavy, a lot of times what happens is guys will slide their elbows forward, which is going to do nothing. Forget about what my arm right now. If I'm taking my elbow forward like this, I'm going to be working my anterior delt, my front delt. So what you're doing by working your anterior delt is you're getting this weight to here, but then you're sliding your elbows forward, you're not getting that peak contraction of your bicep, and you're starting to work that delt. So you're taking away from what you could be working your biceps with and putting it into your shoulder. Therefore, you're not really gonna get the full bicep development that you could get if you kept your elbow in that same spot the whole time, squeezed up to the top, and then right here, I'm still at a leverage point with my arm to where my bicep is being worked. If my elbow's up here and my forearm is straight up and down, my bicep's no longer being worked, but now my shoulder is. So you wanna make sure that you're keeping that leverage point right. Keep your bicep worked by not letting your elbows slide forward. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, stop dropping the weight so damn fast. Guys are getting caught up in bicep curls is when you curl the weight up, yes. But then what's happening is they're putting all their effort, all their might, all their focus into this curl up that they're completely forgetting about the way back down. Every lift that you do has 3 main contractions. It has your concentric, which is going to be the curl up. It has your isometric, that squeeze at the top or just paused anywhere in between. And then your eccentric, which is lowering the bar back down, lowering the weight back down, the descending phase of the exercise. And if you are not focusing, especially when it comes to dumbbell curls or any kind of curl, the eccentric contraction of a curl is almost twice as beneficial as the concentric contraction, because you are actually going to be lengthening the bicep as you go down, therefore working it optimally. But what happens is guys get too caught up in the weight again. They curl it up with all their might, and then they just kind of forget about the weight. They drop it back down so that they can get as many curls up as they can. When really, yes, you want to curl that weight up nice and strong, but you almost want to go twice as slow on the way back down. And I guarantee, if you've never tried this, the second you start going twice as slow on the way back down than you went on the way up, you're gonna get a better pump in your biceps the very first workout. So tip number 3, stop dropping the weight so damn fast. All right, tip number 4. Stop forgetting about full R.O.M. If you don't know what R.O.M is, that just stands for range of motion. And that means that you want to go all the way down to the stretch of the muscle, and you want to curl this weight up all the way up to the peak of the exercise. So you want to get the stretch and the squeeze. But what ends up happening, and this relates to 2 of the tips that I already covered, when people create that momentum, they're not getting the full stretch because they're creating momentum at the bottom. So that bottom portion of the exercise right there, where your muscle should be completely lengthened as far as it can, because a muscle gets worked by shortening and lengthening, not just creating power. The muscle contracts, shortens, lengthens. That's how you stimulate muscle fibers. That's how they grow. That's what makes them want to grow. So if you are creating momentum at the bottom, you're not getting that contraction with your muscle fully lengthened. And then the same thing at the top. If you are rolling that elbow forward, you're not getting that peak contraction at the top. So make sure you have those in your mind the next time you're going to do bicep curls, but also just try to take it to the next level. If you're doing a bicep curl and you remember, and you just happen to remember this video, and you happen to remember that you're supposed to completely lengthen the muscle and get the peak contraction of the muscle, like I said, take it to the next level. Go down to the bottom, really focus on a slow controlled motion, get that arm stretched all the way out, not straightened and just relaxed. Stretch that bicep muscle, not to where you're gonna hurt yourself. Stretch it, nice slow controlled contraction on the way up. Squeeze that shit at the top. Do not roll that elbow forward. Squeeze it, really focus on that squeeze at the top. Go back down all the way to a complete stretch. Go back into the next rep. Really take that stretch and peak contraction to the next level, and that's going to equal better bicep development. That's tip number 4. And tip number 5. This one doesn't necessarily have to do with a form error with a bicep curl. This has more to do with the anatomy of the human body, of the biceps, really. Biceps, they're called biceps because there's 2 heads. You have your long and outer head, you have your short and inner head. So if you're trying to get big biceps, you're going to the gym and you're working biceps, you're obviously trying to put on some size, some strength, some muscle, but you're not putting emphasis in your training or the type of exercises that you're doing to work both heads, then you're not going to have as good of developed biceps as you could if you were focusing on hitting both heads. When I go to the gym and I'm hitting biceps, I will either do 2 or 3 exercises. If I'm doing 3 exercises, I'll do 1 primarily hitting the outer head, which is the peak. I'll do 1 primarily hitting the inner head, which goes for thickness, and then I'll do 1 that hits both. Exercises that are going to hit both are going to be just regular standing curls where your arms are straight down to your side. That's going to hit both heads, inner and outer, evenly. To hit one more than the other, you're not necessarily going to ever isolate one over the other, but like I said in the last tip, you can stretch a muscle, and by stretching that muscle, you're putting it in the best position to contract it optimally. And the best way to do this, and what's lucky I guess with our biceps, is when you do put, let's say, the long head into a stretch, you are putting the short head into a little bit of a relaxed state, and the same thing the other way around. When you're putting the short head into a stretch, you're putting the long head into a little bit of a relaxed state. And this comes down to bicep origination and insertion points. They both originate and insert into the same bones on your body. The difference the long head actually runs around into this little bicipital groove down here and runs down along the outside of your arm. So the best way to put that into a stretch is by, if it's out here wrapped around the front right here, the best way to put this into a stretch is by taking this and putting it behind your body. So this is gonna be things like drag curls. This is gonna be things like incline bench curls. This is going to be anything with a curl with the elbow being behind the line of your body. That's going to put it into the best stretch back there. Curl up, still get that peak contraction. You're gonna build that peak of your bicep. Now, if putting your arm behind the line of your body is going to put the long head into a stretch, I said the complete opposite goes for the short head. So what's gonna happen here, instead of behind your body, you're going to go in front of your body, because seeing as how that wraps around into the bicipital groove, that's right there, putting it into the most relaxed position possible while putting your short head into the most stretched position possible. This is gonna be things like preacher curls or bent over caveman curls, also known as Arnold curls. You can just bend over just like this, making sure that whatever position you're in, your elbow is in front of your body just like that, and that is going to help work that thickness of your bicep. So that's tip number 5. Make sure you are putting emphasis into training both heads, your short and your long head, in your training plan.
Got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Good.
So that does it for these 5 So that does it for the 5 worst bicep curl mistakes. Hopefully you took something from this video. If you did, make sure you're clicking that like button, the subscribe button as well. Also, if you're looking for more tips in the gym, tips in the kitchen, trying to figure out what your body type is, what you're supposed to do to get your body into the shape that you want depending on where you're starting, I have a free body type quiz where you answer a couple of questions. It takes like 10 seconds, and then what it does is tells you your body type and tells you what you need, the 3 main things that you need to do to actually get in the shape that you want to get in. And it's completely free. You can check that out by clicking the link in the description below this video. Other than that, like I said, smash that like button if you guys like this video. Make sure you're commenting any questions you have below, any recommendations for videos that you guys want me to cover, topics that you're confused about, let me know. And then last but not least, make sure you're clicking that subscribe button, joining the V-Shred fam over here on YouTube, and that way you're not gonna miss out when I release a future video. All right, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you in the next one.